December 10th, 2008. There is no investment strategy. There are no trades. There is no money. The returns he's been paying out for 2 decades. Fake. Every statement, fabricated. Every dollar of profit his clients think they have, stolen from someone else? His sons call the FBI the next morning. Within hours, agents arrive at the penthouse. Madoff opens the door in his bathrobe and immediately admits everything. It's a giant Ponzi scheme, and he's been running it alone. The number he gives them stops everyone cold. $65 billion. Not million, billion. But here's what makes this story so chilling. Bernie Madoff wasn't some shadowy criminal. He was Wall Street royalty. A legend. Former chairman of NASDAQ, trusted advisor to billionaires, the man everyone wanted managing their money. His client list read like a Hollywood premiere. Steven Spielberg, Kevin Bacon, Kyra Sedgwick, John Malkovich, Sandy Koufax, Nobel laureate Elie Wiesel. Charities, universities, pension funds. Everyone gave him their life savings because Bernie Madoff never lost. While the rest of Wall Street had good years and bad years, Madoff posted steady returns of 10 to 12% annually. Every single year. Recessions, crashes, chaos. Didn't matter. His fund just kept growing. It was too good to be true, and a few people said so. Harry Markopolos, a financial analyst, spent 9 years trying to convince the SEC that Madoff's returns were mathematically impossible. He submitted detailed reports proving fraud. The SEC investigated Madoff 8 separate times between 1992 and 2008. 8 times they interviewed him, examined records, asked questions. 8 times they closed the case and walked away. Nothing to see here. How did he get away with it? The answer is simpler and darker than you'd imagine. Bernie Madoff wasn't a genius. Clients would receive statements showing trades, profits, portfolio growth. All fiction. Madoff's firm had a legitimate trading business on one floor. But downstairs, in a locked office, DePascali and a handful of employees printed lies. The scheme worked as long as more money came in than went out. And for 2 decades, it did. Madoff's reputation was so golden that investors lined up begging to get in. Some investors called him the Jewish T-bill, safe as government bonds but with far better returns. Country clubs and charity boards put their entire endowments with him. But then 2008 happened. The global financial crisis hit, and suddenly everyone needed cash. Clients who had been content to watch their balances grow on paper now wanted withdrawals. Madoff couldn't pay. There was no money. The game was over, and he knew it. Madoff managed money for 4,800 individual clients worldwide. His firm reported $64. $8 billion in client accounts in 2008. Actual cash remaining when caught was just $234 million. His sons were stunned. They had worked at the firm their entire adult lives and had no idea. Or so they claimed. The next day, they contacted a lawyer, and the lawyer called the FBI. As the news broke, the scope of the destruction became clear. It wasn't just billionaires. It was retirees, teachers, doctors who had saved for decades and trusted Madoff with everything. Charities shuttered overnight, lives obliterated. Elie Wiesel, Holocaust survivor and Nobel Peace Prize winner, lost his entire foundation. $15 million gone. He called Madoff a thief, a scoundrel, and evil. Spielberg's Wunderkinder Foundation lost everything it had. Actor Kevin Bacon and his wife Kyra Sedgwick lost most of their fortune. John Malkovich was nearly wiped out. But the most haunting question remained: where did the money go? $65 billion doesn't just vanish. Investigators began tracing the flow, and what they found was a trail of luxury, lies, and unimaginable waste. Madoff had lived like royalty. Homes in Manhattan, Montauk, Palm Beach, and France. Yachts named Bull and Madoff, a fleet of cars. But even all that couldn't account for billions. The mathematics of a Ponzi scheme are brutal and simple. For every dollar of fake profit you promise, you need a real dollar from somewhere else. By late 2008, Madoff needed $7 billion in new money just to keep the illusion alive. But the world was collapsing. Lehman Brothers had fallen. The global financial crisis was draining liquidity everywhere. In November alone, clients requested $3 billion in redemptions. Madoff's checking account held just $300 million. The mathematics had finally caught up. There was no more rope, no more time, no more new victims to rob. On December 10th, Madoff called his sons to his apartment. They worked in the legitimate trading division. They had no idea. He told them the investment advisory business was a fraud. His sons contacted a lawyer. The lawyer contacted the FBI. The next morning, 2 agents arrived at Madoff's door. When they asked if there was an innocent explanation, he replied, "There is no innocent explanation." The scope stunned even seasoned investigators. $65 billion, 4,800 accounts, clients in 36 countries, charities, pension funds, universities, all obliterated. Some investors lost their entire life savings in a single day. But the number wasn't quite what it seemed. $65 billion was the amount on paper. The fake balances Madoff had printed on fake statements. Still, $20 billion in real stolen money made it the largest financial fraud in American history. Larger than Enron, larger than WorldCom, larger than every previous Ponzi scheme combined. Madoff pleaded guilty to 11 federal felonies in March 2009. He showed no emotion. He blamed no one but himself. At his sentencing, victims filled the courtroom. Steven Spielberg lost his entire charitable foundation funds. Kevin Bacon and Kyra Sedgwick lost most of their fortune. Elie Wiesel's foundation lost $15. $2 million. Everything. The judge called the fraud extraordinarily evil and sentenced Madoff to 150 years in federal prison. He was 71 years old. The personal toll was devastating. Madoff's wife, Ruth, was shunned, her fortune seized. His brother, Peter, went to prison. Meanwhile, a court-appointed trustee began the Herculean task of recovering money. Irving Picard pursued anyone who'd withdrawn more from Madoff than they'd put in, even if they had no idea it was stolen. Winning clients became defendants. Over the next decade, Picard clawed back more than $14 billion through lawsuits and settlements. It was the largest fraud recovery in history, but it still left a $6 billion hole. The question that haunts investigators to this day: how did he get away with it for so long? The SEC had received warnings about Madoff for nearly a decade. The SEC conducted 5 separate investigations into Madoff. Each time, they found nothing. He was too polished, too connected, too respected. His answers were plausible. His fake documents were pristine. It wasn't just regulators. Madoff's auditor was a sole practitioner working out of a strip mall in New York, wholly unequipped to audit a multi-billion-dollar fund. Red flag after red flag. No one looked closely enough. Madoff himself offered little insight into his motives. In rare prison interviews, he claimed he'd intended to stop, that it spiraled out of control, that he never meant for it to last decades. He died in federal prison in April 2021 at age 82, having served less than 12 years of his sentence. His death certificate listed the cause as natural: chronic kidney disease and heart failure. The Madoff scandal reshaped financial regulation in America. The SEC overhauled its enforcement division. Congress passed new whistleblower protections. Auditing standards tightened. But the fundamental vulnerability remains: trust is the bedrock of finance, and trust can be weaponized. Ponzi schemes haven't disappeared. They've adapted. Cryptocurrency scams, fake hedge funds, influencer investment clubs. The technology changes, but the psychology is ancient. People believe what they want to believe, especially when someone they trust is selling the dream. The lessons from Madoff are brutal and clear. If returns seem too consistent, they probably are. If an investment strategy is secret or complex, walk away. Bernie Madoff stole more than money. He stole time. Years people had spent building wealth, security, futures. He stole faith in institutions. He stole the belief that hard work and trust leads somewhere safe. In the end, the most expensive lie ever told wasn't just about fabricated returns or forged statements. It was the lie that trust and pedigree are the same as proof. That reputation is evidence. 65 billion reasons to verify before you trust. 65 billion reminders that the biggest frauds don't look like criminals. They look like pillars of the community.